and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you a story, which I don't think I've ever done like a story time video on my channel, but I love watching them and I like to think I'm quite the storyteller. I don't know. You can be the judge because today I'm going to be sharing with you quite the story. I did document little snippets of it on my Snapchat, which if you guys don't have me on Snapchat, what are you doing with a live? There you go. You're welcome. So this story is about my flight experience from hell. To hell? From hell? From hell. Wow, what an anticlimactic moment. It was quite the traumatic experience, not one that I want to live through anytime soon. Thank God I got a one-way ticket. The story begins on a beautiful Tuesday evening. I book a one-way ticket for Tuesday the 21st of April, cheapest day to fly, little tip for you. So I booked my tickets and my original flight path was from Adelaide, which is where I lived, past tense because I'm living here now. Wow, that's so strange. Suddenly just hit me that I'm living in another country. Anyway, so I was flying from Adelaide to Sydney. I had about a 2.5-hour layover in Sydney, which is kind of pushing it, especially when I'm going from a domestic to an international flight, but it's doable. And then from Sydney, I had like a 14-hour flight to San Francisco. I had a 6-hour layover in San Francisco, and then another 4 or 5 hour flight to Toronto, which was my final destination. So a couple months pass and the day of departure quickly comes around. I wake up Tuesday morning, I literally pack. Classic me. So we make it to the airport, go and check in, and I'm told that all flights to Sydney have been delayed. Great. This is the one thing I was stressing and just dreading about because I only have a 2.5-hour layover when I get to Sydney. So I'm like, cool, great news. How long will the delay be? He's like, half an hour-ish. There's really bad weather in Sydney. There's like storms. I think there was a cyclone in Newcastle or something. It was crazy. I'm like, okay, that's fine. It still gives me like 2 hours when I get to Sydney. It's still very much doable. I go to my gate. I wait the extra half an hour. I say goodbye to all my family and my friends. My friends came, which was, I don't want to say it was a surprise because they told me that they would potentially be coming, but the fact that they actually did come, I don't know, like, it was early, okay? I say goodbye, it was very emotional. You know, I'm not going to see these people for a whole year. Bye. I make my way to the plane, my eyes full of tears, and I'm on the plane. I've made it. I'm sitting right at the front, which is perfect. I have a lot of leg room. It gives me a great opportunity to get the heck off that plane as soon as we land. Like, I am pushed full time. I'm sitting next to these two girls, you know, wiping away my tears. They were so nice. They were like trying to comfort me. They were like, oh, what's wrong? I'm like, no, it's fine. I just say goodbye to everyone for a whole year. It's cool, it's whatever. I try and distract myself. So I ask, you know, what are you up to? What are you guys doing heading to Sydney? And they're like, oh, you know, just going for a girls' weekend. I'm like, I am so sorry. I am ruining your trip. And they're like, no, it's fine. So we're having this, you know, conversation and I realize, hey, we're not moving. We have been sitting here a good 20-25 minutes, like, what the heck? So that half an hour delay turns into, you know, an hour. We make it to Sydney, but instead of landing, we circle the airport for 45 minutes. 45 minutes. I wish I was joking. I wish I was. So I'm just sitting there, you know, on the edge of my seat. I probably look like I've been possessed or there was like spiders crawling up my skin because I'm just like, get me off this plane. I'm so fidgety, so agitated. Eventually we land, thank God. But at this point, my, you know, half an hour delay has turned into almost 2 hours. So I have 45 minutes to make my connecting flight to San Francisco. Things don't look great, but I'm still hanging on to this thread of hope, like I can do it. As soon as we land, I jump off the plane. Well, I don't jump. I run off the plane. I don't run. Who am I kidding? I don't run. I walk off the plane at a healthy pace and I'm greeted by my brother, my guardian angel that day. He is already on the phone to Flight Centre, which is who I booked my tickets with, trying to get things sorted for me. I talked to the guy and he's like, you need to go to the United Airlines desk. They should be able to sort it out. If not, call us back. So we collect my luggage, head on over to the international terminal. There was probably like a handful of other people that were in a similar situation to me. So I'm like, I feel you, my homies. There was this one guy that was in the line in front of me that really stood out to me for some reason. It was probably his accent, to be honest, because it was so strong and obnoxious. It was the worst Northern American accent I've ever heard. I was like, is this what I'm gonna have to live with? Thank God it's not. I think it was the combination of his accent and his natural voice. Like, it was just a bad combo. So he served. I'm like, thank God I don't have to listen to your voice ever again. It was so annoying. It was the most obnoxious voice I've ever had. I can't get over it. Anyway, so I talk to the lady. I tell her, yo, missed my flight. Can ya help me out, and I'm expecting her to ask for, you know, the money. But she doesn't, which I still don't really understand to this day because I missed my flight because of the weather, but it had nothing to do with my United Airlines flight, like, I don't know. Anyway, I'm not complaining, and within 5 minutes, she's rebooked both my flights, has my boarding passes printed off, ready to rumble. She's rebooked me for the exact same flight path, exact same times, just for the following day. So I got to spend a day in Sydney, which I've never been to Sydney before. I know, crazy, it's iconic. How could I have not? But yeah, my first time ever going to Sydney. I really enjoyed it.
Ella just missed her flight to Canada, so she's gonna come stay at my house.
Yay!
Yeah! Little Sydney holiday.
Luckily my brother lives there and he let me crash at his place for the night. We went out for lunch at this really cool like bookshop cafe thing. It was so cool and quirky. I loved it.
Is it recording? Oh. So we're in a cafe. Ella's having breakfast. Ella picked up this cool hat from our cab driver.
Oh, he was
He had a bag of hats. Ella scored this bear one. Sydney's pretty raining today.
That's why I'm here. So up in the sky. If you weren't here, I'd be screwed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like your guardian Oprah.
And yeah, I just chilled at my brother's house for the night in Sydney. It was cool. The next morning rolls around, I call an Uber, which I never use Uber when I'm in Adelaide, but I was in Sydney, so I was calling Ubers left, right and centre, my friends. It was so exciting. I say goodbye to my brother and I head on over to the airporto. Well, I'm like 3.5 hours early, which is ridiculous, but I was terrified that something else would go wrong, so I left plenty of time. We kind of needed it because the weather was just insane. It did not stop raining the whole 24 hours I was there. My brother's house started flooding. When I called my Uber to the airport, I thought we were crossing the bloody Amazon River at multiple points because the whole streets were flooded. It was just crazy. So I make it to the airport. I'm like, thank God, this is my moment. And I see the line. I'm like, whoo. I'm glad I got here early because this line is huge. I join the end of the queue and I'm quickly greeted by a United Airlines representative who tells me my flight's been cancelled. Cool. This is wonderful news. What every girl that's been traveling for what, like 24, 25, 26 hours already wants to hear. The line was so long. I think I was there for like 2.5 hours. Meanwhile, I needed to pee this whole entire time. I couldn't leave my luggage. Like I was, you know, flying solo and I didn't really trust the people I was surrounded by. Like everyone was really antsy and kind of, sorry, the life of the rich and famous. Yeah, everyone I was surrounded by were kind of antsy and like agitated, and I didn't trust them, so I, you know, held it together. Eventually I make it to the front of the line after 2.5 hours. At this point I think I have a bladder infection, but it doesn't matter because I'm here. I'm ready to rebook my flight. She was almost gonna put me on 5 different flights. I was like, no way, nuh-uh, not happening. Like that is 5 times more chance that you're gonna lose my luggage. Like it's just not gonna happen. So she talks to her supervisor, she does her thing, and lo and behold, there's a much better flight path for me. So I'm like, great, book it, let's go. I've been traveling for over 24 hours and I haven't even left the bloody country, like just get me out. So my flights are rebooked, and instead of flying with United Airlines, I'm now flying with Qantas, which is fine. And instead of flying to San Francisco, I'm now flying to Dallas, Texas. So that's also fine. No stress, no worries. At least I'm leaving the country, and I'm leaving in like 2 hours, which is perfect. It means I don't have to hang around at the airport all day. So I head on over to check in at Qantas. I join another line, which honestly, by the end of it, I was just sick of seeing the formation of lines. Like, ugh. I check in, everything is smooth. I go through security, find my gate, and I sit down, and I'm like, it was just such a relief to pee. That was the first thing I did. I didn't just sit down and was like, oh, I ran to the toilet and then I sat down, and it was such a relief. I'm sitting, I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and I get to the point where, you know, my flight should be boarding by now. I go and talk to someone and he tells me, you know, there's some delays. Some delays, are you kidding me? So at this point, I've had a missed flight, a cancelled flight, and a delayed flight. I'm not a happy bunny, to say the least. But I go, sit down, you know, wait 2 hours. 2 hours. Eventually board. It was a good flight, honestly. It was like 15 hours, which is quite long. But I was sitting next to this really beautiful Mexican couple. They were so cute. We really connected on like a spiritual level. Like if one of us needed to use the facilities, we'd all take that as an opportunity to, you know, use the toilet as well or stretch. We had a system down. It worked for us, and it was a smooth 15-hour flight. It flew by. So we make it to Dallas. I'm like, praise the Lord, because the whole flight I'm like, should I be on this plane right now? Like, Everything that could have gone wrong has gone wrong. Like, is this a sign? Is this plane going to crash? Thank God it didn't. So I go through customs, which I thought customs was so efficient in America. I'd gotten the, I think it's the ETSA US waiver thing. So you just scan your passport, you answer some questions. It's like a self-serve checkout, but for customs. It's so cool, so futuristic. I do like my little fingerprints and I get this little printout. I'm about to walk out, you know, a free gal. And the man looks at it and he's like, oh, you just need to join this line just over here. Just this line. The line is like 200 people long. So I joined the line, whatever. And I think I was originally meant to have like a 3.5 hour layover in Dallas, but because of the 2-hour delay in Sydney, I only have like an hour and a half. So I'm stressing. Meanwhile, I meet a girl in the line and she's on the same flight as me. So, you know, we bond, we make it through customs, we go and get our luggage together, but she didn't have any luggage, which I find strange. Like, she's come all the way from Sydney. I don't know, maybe she was a drug dealer, whatever. So we collect our luggage, go and try and find the Air Canada check-in, which we can't find anywhere. We go and talk to this guy who was wearing a cowboy hat. Everyone was wearing a cowboy hat. Oh my God. You could pinpoint who were tourists and who weren't because everyone that was a local was wearing a cowboy hat. It was the strangest thing. Every stereotypical thing that I thought about the southern part of America was a reality. It was so crazy. So I go and talk to this guy. He's like, howdy doodly, what can I, okay, he wasn't Ned Flanders. And he was like, oh yeah, you need to go to Terminal E. And I was like, great, you know, that sounds kind of far away. Which direction is it in? And he's like, oh, you need to get a taxi or a shuttle bus because it's about like 2 or 3 miles away. I'm not really familiar with miles, you know, I've used the metric system my whole life, but that sounds kind of far away. And to top it off, the cherry on the icing was that the girl, you know, my new travel companion, my new bud, could go through the gate right here because she didn't have to check in any luggage. So she left. I realized it's every man for themselves. It's fine, it's cool, it's whatever. So I go and find my shuttle bus. There's delays on my shuttle bus, of course, the only shuttle bus I need. Do I want to say shuttle bus one more time? At this point, I'm not even surprised. You know, it's to be expected at this point in the journey. I wait bloody 15-20 minutes for this shuttle bus and I make my way down to Terminal E. And this guy was not exaggerating, like it is far away. I make it, I have like half an hour before my flight, so I'm running. Well, I don't run. We've already established I don't run, but I walk really fast and I go to the Air Canada checkout and there is not another soul inside. I give her my ticket, she looks at it, she calls the ground staff and she's like, can you please open up the plane? We have another suitcase. Yeah, they open, ew, sorry. Little finger fluff. Yeah, they opened the plane just for me, which naturally I felt honored. She gives me my boarding pass and you know, I made it. I have made it. I go through security, which American security is full on. I think it showed that I had like metal in this area, you know, I'm wearing a bra, underwire people. So this lady full on fills me up. I'm like, oh my goodness, should we be doing this in another room? Like, this is invasive in front of everyone. It was very bizarre, but I, you know, bit the bullet and yeah, that was weird. Very weird. So I've just been felt up, which is probably the highlights of my trip at this point. I find my gate, I board the plane, and all is well in life. I go and sit down and I hear this familiar voice. This familiar, annoying voice. It is the same guy who was in the line in front of me who had been on the exact same plane from Adelaide to Sydney as me. The one with the really annoying accent / voice. This same guy is sitting right in front of me. I'm tripping balls. Like, what are the chances through all the missed flights, cancelled flights, delayed flights? Like, this same guy is sitting right in front of me. I am freaking out. We exchange a hello, you know. We've been through this together. We're tight at this point. You've been wearing the same clothes for the past 3 days? Me too. It's weird how everything came full circle. Like, this same guy who'd been on the same flight as me from Adelaide to Sydney. Like, what are the chances? It was very bizarre. So yeah, that is my flight experience from hell. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. I hope you found it somewhat interesting, entertaining. Give it a thumbs up if you did, and let me know in the comments if you would like to see more of these in the future. Potentially. Also make sure to check out my social media links down below. I'm gonna skedaddle. I love you guys and I will see you in my next video. Bye! First place I went to was Sephora. Oh my god, I only got one thing actually. Like, talk about self-restraint. Hey guys, it's me, Miranza. Oh, sorry. Such a lady.